Ever wondered who the most despised NBA players are? The guys who, when they walked onto the court, were greeted by a chorus of boos so loud it could shake the arena? We're talking about the villains, the antagonists, the guys who fans love to hate. This ain't about a lack of skills. Nah, these guys could ball. But their antics, their attitudes, and let's be real, sometimes their downright dirty play, earned them a special place on the NBA's most hated list. Get ready, because we're diving deep into the careers of the top 5 most hated players in NBA history. Coming in at number 5, we got a guy who was as flashy as he was infuriating. A walking highlight reel who could light up the scoreboard, but also drive opposing fans and players up the wall with his on-court antics. Player name? Ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's be clear. The brother could play. He came into the league with a ton of hype, and for good reason. He had handles that would make you question physics, could finish at the rim with the best of them, and had a knack for hitting those dagger threes right in your face. But, and this is a big but, he was also known for his, shall we say, questionable decisions on the court. Flopping, complaining to the refs, and let's not forget those technical fouls he racked up like they were going out of style. Player name was the epitome of a love him or hate him player. His own fans adored his swagger and showmanship, while opposing fans couldn't stand his antics. They saw him as a whiner, a flopper, and someone who disrespected the game with his constant complaining. And you know what? They weren't entirely wrong. Remember that time he insert a specific memorable moment, good or bad, about the player? Or how about when he insert another specific moment? Yeah, those moments are forever etched in NBA history, for better or worse. But here's the thing about player name, love him or hate him, you couldn't take your eyes off him. He was must-watch television every time he stepped on the court. You never knew what you were going to get, a spectacular play or a head-scratching technical foul. That unpredictability, that ability to get under your skin and make you feel some type of way, that's what lands him on this list. Player name might not have been the most universally beloved player, but he sure knew how to leave his mark on the game. And in a league full of larger-than-life personalities, that's saying something. He embraced the villain role, and whether you agree with his methods or not, you got to respect his ability to get under everyone's skin. That's just the kind of player he was. And that's why he's number 5 on our list of the most hated players in NBA history. At number 4, we got a guy who was as tough as nails, a defensive stalwart who struck fear into the hearts of opponents. But let's be real, he was also known for his, shall we say, physical style of play. That's right, we're talking about player name. This dude was a warrior on the court, a no-nonsense competitor who would do whatever it took to win. He was the kind of player who would dive for loose balls, take charges, and guard the opposing team's best player night in and night out. He was a coach's dream, a true grit-and-grind player who embodied the spirit of hard work and determination. But, and this is a big but, player name, was also known for his, shall we say, less than gentle approach to the game. He was a master of the dark arts of defense, using his elbows, hips, and whatever else he could get away with to gain an advantage. He was called for countless fouls, flagrant fouls, and even got suspended a few times for his on-court antics. Opposing players hated going up against him. They knew they were in for a long night, a physical battle that would leave them bruised and battered. And you know what? He seemed to relish in that role. He embraced being the villain, the enforcer, the guy everyone loved to hate. Remember that time he insert a specific memorable moment, good or bad, about the player? Or how about when he insert another specific moment? Yeah, those moments are forever etched in NBA history, for better or worse. But here's the thing about player name. You couldn't question his heart or his desire to win. He played with a level of intensity that was unmatched, and that's what made him so effective. He might have crossed the line sometimes, but you could never accuse him of not giving it his all. Player name might not have been the most popular player among his peers, but he was respected, even feared, for his toughness and his unwavering will to win. He was a true original, a one-of-a-kind player who left his mark on the game. And that's why he's number 4 on our list of the most hated players in NBA history. Coming in at number 3, we got a guy who was pure dominance personified. force of nature who could take over a game with his sheer size, strength, and skill. But he was also a walking, talking soundbite, a master of trash talk who never backed down from a challenge or a microphone. That's right, we're talking about player name. This dude was a beast on the court, a walking double-double who could score at will and dominate the boards. He was a multiple-time All-Star, a league MVP, and a champion who struck fear into the hearts of opponents. He was simply unstoppable, a man amongst boys who could carry his team to victory on any given night. But, and this is a big but, player name was also known for his, shall we say, outspoken personality. He was never afraid to speak his mind, whether it was trash-talking his opponents, calling out his teammates, or criticizing the refs. He was the king of the soundbite, always good for a quotable quote that would make headlines and get people talking. Now, some people loved his brashness, his confidence, his willingness to say what was on his mind. They saw him as a breath of fresh air, a no-nonsense competitor who kept it real. But others, well, they couldn't stand him. They saw him as arrogant, disrespectful, and a bit of a bully. Remember that time he insert a specific memorable moment, good or bad, about the player? Or how about when he insert another specific moment? Yeah, those moments are forever etched in NBA history, for better or worse. But here's the thing about player name. You couldn't deny his talent or his impact on the game. He was a once-in-a-generation player who changed the way the game was played. He was a true original, a one-of-a-kind personality who transcended the sport. And that's why he's number 3 on our list of the most hated players in NBA history. At number 2, we got a guy who was the epitome of a love him or hate him player. He was a phenomenal talent, a gifted scorer who could light up the scoreboard with ease. But he was also known for his controversial behavior on and off the court, which often overshadowed his on-court accomplishments. That's right, we're talking about player name. This dude was a walking bucket, a pure scorer who could get to the rim at will and finish with either hand. He had a silky, smooth jump shot, could create his own shot, and was a nightmare matchup for opposing defenders. He was a multiple-time All-Star, a scoring champion, and one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. But, and this is a big but, player name's career was also marred by controversy. He had numerous run-ins with the law, was suspended multiple times for violating the league's drug policy, and developed a reputation as a malcontent who was difficult to coach and be around. His off-court issues often overshadowed his on-court brilliance, which is a shame because he was truly a special talent. He could have been one of the all-time greats, but his own demons and poor decision-making prevented him from reaching his full potential. Remember that time he insert a specific memorable moment, good or bad, about the player? Or how about when he insert another specific moment? Yeah, those moments are forever etched in NBA history, for better or worse. Player name's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that talent alone is not enough to succeed in life. He had all the tools to be one of the best, but his own personal struggles ultimately held him back. And that's why he's number 2 on our list of the most hated players in NBA history. And at number 1, the most hated player in NBA history, the guy who could make your blood boil with his antics, the one and only player name. Now, before you go ballistic in the comments section, hear me out. This ain't about player name lacking skills. The brother was a stone-cold baller, a walking triple-double threat who could dominate a game in ways we'd never seen before. He was a champion, an MVP, an Olympic gold medalist. The accolades speak for themselves. But, and it's a big but, player name was also the master of the dark arts of basketball. He'd flop like he was in a soap opera, complain to the refs more than a toddler denied candy. And let's not even get started on those questionable tactical fouls. Opposing fans, they wanted to throw tomatoes at the TV screen whenever he touched the ball. They saw him as a cheater, a whiner, someone who disrespected the very spirit of the game. And you know what? They weren't entirely wrong. Remember that time he insert a specific memorable moment, good or bad, about the player? Or how about when he insert another specific moment? Yeah, those moments are forever etched in NBA infamy. But here's the thing about player name. Love him or hate him, you couldn't deny his impact. He was a winner, plain and simple. He knew how to push buttons, get under your skin, and make you forget about the game plan. He was a master manipulator, and it drove opponents and their fans absolutely bonkers. Player name might not have been the most liked player, but he was one of the most talked about, the most analyzed, the most hated. And that, my friends, is why he's number one on our list. Now, before you grab your pitchforks, hit that like button. If you agree with our list, and if you're brave enough, drop a comment with your own most hated NBA player. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Let's keep this conversation going. So there you have it, the top 5 most hated players in NBA history. We dove deep into their careers, their controversies, and why they sparked such passionate reactions from fans. Look, these guys were all incredible talents, but their antics, their attitudes, and their ability to get under everyone's skin earned them a special place in NBA lore. You might have loved them, you probably hated them, but one thing's for sure, you couldn't ignore them. This is Stephen A. Smith, reminding you that's why they play the game.